How are you, my fans, sneak peepers, and curious friends? I am difficult and demanding. If you want to know my real name, then hold still, and I might bring your wish to fruition. Before we begin, you can find this podcast show in iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Blueberry, Google Play Music, TuneIn, YouTube, and Stitcher. This is the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast, keeping it real, uncensored, and shooting straight between the eyes. The third eye, that is. I am going to hit you with explicit truth. This solo show is outrageously honest and keenly witty with a view into life. Yes, I said life. That's what we do every day when we wake up from sleeping. We are living life. Well, some of us at least. Let's get something straight. Really, really straight. I am truly, actually, habitually, and shamelessly difficult and demanding. And I completely own it. Now, I don't ask for much because I expect and receive it all. I firmly believe that if you expect shit, you will receive shit. What does that mean? Well, it means expect nothing but the best and don't settle for less. As always, I, your host, Tara, am keeping it real and uncensored. How's life been treating you? It'll never be as good as how I treat you. What do you think about that? So now that we have an understanding, come into my world and unplug from your life and dive all into episode 61 of the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast. Hooking up has been ascribed to the millennial generation, but let the truth be told, people have been hooking up for ages. It was just called something different like flings and one-night stands. The millennial generation may not be and does not want to be what we want to portray them to be. They're human beings just like any other generation. Do you want to increase your attractiveness, magnetism, desirability? Well, there's a simple and courageous solution. Just open yourself up to the world and show them the real you, the true you. Just be a human being. Before I begin, I am going to do a call out. What's a call out? Well, it's not a shout out. I am calling out you motherfucking lurkers. If you have entered my world, then be honest with yourself about it. You want to be here, and you know I want you here, so follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Finally, climb aboard and enjoy the entire show, because I am giving you plenty of ridiculous honesty. Once the podcast episode ends, I am keeping it going on my Instagram page at Difficult and Demanding and on my Twitter page at Mrs. D and D. So here we go again, guys. Welcome back. And I'm going to be talking about two different topics this week. And the first one that I'm touching upon is something I read about the sexually conservative millennials. And this article had a lot of statistics and things like that. And I really don't want to get into that, but I want to focus on a broader sense of what they are saying. And what this article began to talk about is how young Americans may be demographically diverse than other generations, older generations, but many embrace surprisingly traditional views on relationships. What is a traditional view on relationships? That says a lot, and it says nothing at all. And what's even more intriguing to me is what does traditional give to you as an individual or us as a couple? Why are we focusing on traditional views instead of focusing on what traditionally can make each one of us happy? There is no way that we can have traditional views on relationships when our whole premise on how we interact with one another is heavily based upon social media. A number of us really don't interact with one another. So how can you have a traditional view about what a man or a woman should be, or what, I guess with some couples, you have man and a man and a woman, but in general, someone's performing a masculine role and someone's performing the more feminine role. So when you say traditional views on relationship, I want to peel back what that means, because it doesn't make full sense. Because the point of being a millennial is to be progressive, is to be open-minded, which is why they are talking about how millennials are demographically diverse compared to other generations. Yet they're sticking to some views on how we sexually behave and sexually represent ourselves. Now, millennials are thought to hook up more so than other generations and other cultures. I don't even want to say cultures. Let's say other generations. And hookups are defined as casual sexual encounters encompassing everything from kissing to intercourse. Now, guys, you and I both know people have been fucking for a long goddamn time. So why is it that the millennials are getting the credit for indulging sexually when people have been doing this shit for a long time? That's where you get one night stands, you have flings, making out sessions. So why are we attributing this shit to millennials like they invented some shit that's new? They didn't invent a motherfucking thing. If anything, what they've done is they've taken something that motherfuckers been working for a long goddamn time, and they've added an electronic mobile device component to that shit. And that is what they've done differently. They made it much easier to have access to whatever one deems sexually attractive and arousing. Now, what do you think about that? I got a good point, don't I? You can't lead me to believe that millennials are showing us what the fuck is up and what to do in regards to sex, intercourse, hooking up, romantic behavior, being sexual. There's no possible way. So why are we trying to attribute some credit to some things like before the millennials? What were we doing? We were sitting in the fucking corner with a dunce cap on? No, we weren't doing that. There was a whole sexual revolution in this country between men and women in general. So what is it that's so progressive with millennials? They are more out there with it because of the Tinder and Grindr apps and things like that. It's more visible. It's not as tainted and taboo. Is that what it is? Well, let me tell you a piece of advice or a piece of information. The millennials have this platform because of what prior generations have gone through, have endured, that they paved the way for people to have a more open-minded, hook-up type of culture. You can't have today without having yesterday. Yesterday is the foundation for today. So all the fucking that people were doing prior to that, where they were using Craigslist or other ads or finding people in bars or other places like that to hook up. That's what people were doing before social media came along. So I hate to burst your bubble, but the only thing that's different with millennials is that they have convenience of one night stands and flings. People had to work a lot harder to get that dick or pressure or precious treasure chest, as I like to say it. They had to work a lot harder. So things are much easier. Things are convenient. Things are accessible. And I think, to be honest, I think things are taken for granted as far as the ease in which you can find someone that can please you for this minute, this night, or the next motherfucking week. Depends on how long you like them and how long you want to stay with them. So the term hookup has come to represent the social mores of a generation. And that generation would be the millennial generation. And this hookup culture is assumed to be the universal culture of this group of people that are growing up now. But according to a study, majority of young people consider random sex morally wrong in some circumstances, and many consider it always wrong. See, now we are getting to the juicy part of this shit. How is it that sex is morally wrong? Can you explain that to me? How having sex is morally wrong. How receiving pleasure and happiness is morally wrong. How can two human beings that have a desire to touch, to connect with one another, how can that ever be wrong? How can that be wrong? You're saying, well, they need to be in a committed relationship. They need to be in a marriage or whatever you deem a partnership. So you're trying to tell me having a title makes something more legit? How does that make any goddamn sense? How are you going to deprive yourself or another human being of something that I consider a goddamn birthright, all because I don't have a marriage certificate, all because I don't have the title of a girlfriend or a fiance? Where does this shit end? What does having all these rules, how in the hell does it serve a purpose? It's deprivation at best. We are coming up with rules and guidelines to live a fucking deprived, compromised motherfucking life. Who signs up for shit like that? When you have a need, you have an urge, and you have a healthy way to satisfy that with a willing participant, you want it, she wants it, he wants it, they want it. Why the fuck are you gonna shy away from that shit? If there's no harm, there's no foul. What do these rules, these restrictions, what in the fuck does it give you besides goddamn shackles? This is another form of a chastity belt. What do you prove? Who do you serve by denying yourself something that is naturally innate, inherent in who you are? How can pleasure be wrong? How can pleasing be wrong? And why in the hell would you ever tell yourself no to some shit that you know will make you feel better? Why are we acting like martyrs? Now, I'm not saying you don't make self-honoring decisions. You're not respectful. You have to be all those things. But at the end of the day, we're wired how we're wired. Now you're saying anyone who indulges in their urges, their desires, their passion, they're degenerate. There's something wrong with them. No, I think there's something wrong with you. Who would walk away from something that makes you feel so goddamn good? Why would you turn that away? You don't turn away a motherfucking pizza that's sitting in your face. You can get fat on your ass. You don't turn away from that shit. You don't turn away from a pint of goddamn ice cream. You don't turn away from going to a football game, a basketball game, a baseball game. You don't shy away from that. So how is it okay to go to these events and connect with people, but it's not okay for you to get bare ass, butt ass naked and touch and feel the warmth of another human being's body? Oh, because one activity there's clothes on and one activity there's clothes not on? That doesn't make any sense. If you have decided that it's okay to pursue activities which involves others and it brings you some type of pleasure, amusement, relaxation, then why would you ever deprive yourself of making love or being with another human being? Especially if you're not being coerced and it's your decision. Why would you ever shy away from that? See, to me, I think there's a disconnect there. There's something that is off. It's deeply off. We all know and understand that we need one another. We need to touch. We need that feel. We need to taste. We need to see. We need to hear. That's why y'all listen to my voice. We need to connect because that shit gives life. It gives motherfucking vitality. Do you understand? Why would you shy away from something that gives goddamn life? Brings you new life. Why? Oh, you don't feel deserving of feeling so good? Is that what it is? It has to be something. Because anyone who feels like a queen or a king or a god or a goddess, they know their worth. And they take all their bounty, their booty, they take it all because they know who the fuck they are. So I'm asking you, who the fuck are you? Because if you knew how priceless you are, then you would be willing, ready, and able to accept what is on offer to you. Have you ever seen a king turn away some motherfucking treasure that's being given to him? Have you seen a queen do that? They don't do that shit. They take it. They take it all. If it's being offered to you and there's no harm, there's no foul, it's in respect, giving in a respectful, honoring manner. Let some motherfucker that I want offer me some shit like that and watch what the hell I do. When you're saying you're hot, you're loose, call it whatever the fuck you want, but let me tell you this, you're gonna see a smile on my face. What does your face look like, huh? I can guarantee your face doesn't look like mine, and your voice doesn't motherfucking sound like mine. So we have many different ways to live our life, but the crux of it is this. Are you happy or are you unhappy? Being conservative, what the fuck does that prove? Huh? Does that make you right? Does that make you better? What does it give you? Being conservative, being deprived, being compromised. Are you happy? You can't be. That's why people are living these secret motherfucking lives and they're cheating and they're doing shit behind closed doors because you are denying yourself. You are depriving yourself, all to uphold a fake fraud motherfucking image. What is conservatism? It's upholding some values, some image that one deems is the best approach to live life, to live a successful, abundant life. Do you think that's the only path to reach that goal? There can't be. There's many roads to get to one destination. So why would your way be the only way? And if you can get to your final destination being sexually pleased, why would you give that up? You don't know what you could be missing. You don't know what you could be experiencing. Someone can give you a new perspective on life. Now, here's where I think the catch is. There is a healing component to intimacy, to connecting with someone physically, sexually, sensually. But that connection doesn't happen truly or fully unless there's some bond, connection that's been established with another. If you are hooking up with a person physically and you haven't established a mental and emotional and ideally a spiritual connection, whatever you're doing in the bedroom, you might as well go sit your ass on the toilet and go piss and shit because that's the equivalent. And that is why I think people are able to be sexually conservative, because you haven't had the chance to experience or develop the utmost connection with another. How you're connecting, that shit is dull, it's mundane. Because if you have the right passion, desire, interest, curiosity behind what you're doing, that blows your mind. It blows your motherfucking mind. It's only when you're hooking up with someone based on how they look physically that when you leave that shit, it's like you watched the most stupid show on television. You're not fulfilled. You're not gratified. You're not satisfied. And I think that is what is missing. Because when you are in tune with yourself, your needs, your want, if you know how to please and fulfill yourself, that gives you a gauge of how to hone in to get your needs met. But we're so skilled, we're so practiced at watering ourselves down, denying ourselves, depriving ourselves, pretending to be other people that we're not, sweeping away our urges, washing that shit away. We're taught that it's dirty to need. It's filth to want. It's evil to enjoy. And if you throw coming in that mix, your ass is going to hell. You are comparing something that is healing on so many levels to shit like rape, murder. How can you compare sexual gratification to some shit like that? They're not the same thing. You have all these sensations on your body because you're supposed to enjoy it. It's there for a reason. Yes, the human body is also there to produce more people, but we're also here to enjoy ourselves, to relieve stress, to prevent aging. It serves so many different purposes, but you want to take pride on calling yourself sexually conservative. And then you want to take more pride in saying, you know what, you doing that is morally wrong. Being right in your own damn world is what? You're right and you're miserable. You're right and you're unfulfilled. You're right and you are dissatisfied. You're right and you are living a compromised, deprived life. Is being right that worth that much to you? Or is happiness worth more? I firmly believe that if you've been with the right person, there's no way you can come up with some shit like this. Morally wrong. You have to define your morals, because to me, you know what's morally wrong to me? Is when you claim to have this deep, strong connections with people on social media and you give all your time and attention to upholding that shit. And the people that's face to face with you in your life, you don't give them the time of day. You don't connect with them. You don't see them. I think that shit's morally wrong. I think that's wrong. I think that's neglectful as your responsibility as a world citizen. You would rather pay more attention to a motherfucking phone than someone who's sitting right next to you that you can communicate with and wish them a great day. And if you're really motherfucking lucky, you can make that motherfucking come later on that day. Why would you turn away from that? But you want to talk about what's morally wrong about something that is so natural and right for us. I don't understand who we are serving. I don't understand what it is that you are trying to prove. You're young. You're supposed to learn. You're supposed to explore. That's a part of being human beings. You have to yearn. You have to desire. You cannot live life locking away and numbing who you are as a person. It's natural. How can something that's natural ever be wrong? And we don't sit back and question if what it means, what it says. Having sex, many consider morally wrong outside the confines of a traditional relationship. These are some standards that you can't uphold. These are some standards you can't live by, yet we keep trying. We wonder why we're angry, we're depressed, we are having problems with sleep because we're living up to some notions and some ideas that are not attainable. And if they are, they're not sustainable. Am I advocating you sleep with everything that catches your motherfucking attention? No. But if you choose to do so, that's on you. If it makes you happy, you do that shit. You do that. But to sit here and to judge others on what makes them happy, I think that's fucked up. It's wrong. How are you going to say someone is not morally sound, not morally right? Because they're doing something that fulfills them. They're doing something that gives them joy. If you want to be a fucked up motherfucker sitting in the corner, horny as hell and frustrated, that shit is on you. Why you got to have an opinion of what the fuck someone else is doing? That's called fucking being a hater. As far as I'm concerned, you're a coward. You want to have an opinion about someone else having the courage to pursue their life, to live their life, to get their dreams, needs, wants, desires met. When deep down, you wish you could do that shit. You wish you could have that. You wish you can go get it. But your pussy ass footy motherfucker can't do that. So what you do when you can't look yourself in the mirror, you throw stones, you cast judgment, you let other people think that there's something wrong with them. No, the only motherfucker that has a problem would be you. The only motherfucker that thinks they're okay is the one who thinks they're morally right, but they're unhappy as hell. How that sound? How does that seem? That seems fucked up to me. How you gonna sit there on your fucking moral throne saying you're right, but you're fucking miserable as hell? I live life by this premise. What you choose to do, you do that shit. You own that shit. But you don't have the right to attack another for living their life, for living their truth. If you choose not to have sex until you're married, guess what? I'm fine with it. I'm happy for you. Bam, boom, done. But I got a problem with motherfuckers who try to tell other people how they should be living their life. What works for you may not work for somebody else. And you got to have enough love, compassion, understanding, and respect as a person to understand these are my life choices. And everybody has a right to live their life. Why can't you love another just because they have no problem getting their sexual, sensual needs met? Why do you seem to think that that makes that person less than? And let's not even talk about the people who are fucking freaky as hell. You have people out there who have no problem relishing and enjoying the different parts of their body and how they can be used to give and receive pleasure. You have a bunch of people who are sexually aroused by fucking pain. Everybody gets off one way or another. It doesn't make one right or one wrong. But you have this small group of people who think they know best for everybody on the face of this earth. Because as far as I'm concerned, they're inadequate. You have to be some level inadequate or insecure to not want to physically, intimately connect with a human being. And the same person will sit on social media following motherfuckers and liking shit, claiming that they're connecting with people in the world. But you can't connect face to face. You can't connect through touch, actual touch. You want to touch a fucking phone instead of touch a person. And then you want to sit here and say what's right or what's wrong? Come on, guys. We really have to question the shit that we're taught. We have to really look at different things, different views and norms for different angles and say, does this make sense? What is tradition? What is normal? All those things are fluid, it's subjective. It changes over time. So when you still keep living according to some notions that may be outdated, you are not living your best life. Now, I'm not saying we all run wild and craze like sex nympho lunatics. Of course, some of you may be, and that's your prerogative, as long as you're not hurting anyone else. But why do we have to walk a tightrope with every area of our life? How can sex be wrong? Oh, I just had another epiphany. The reason why traditional views consider sex wrong is that people who have attempted to live up to these traditional views and norms and they couldn't take anymore, they usually succumb to some type of temptress, enchantress, seductress, right? Or a woman gets seduced by a Casanova type of man and she left her home And that is how people have tainted it to be morally wrong, because some people who thought they can live up to these traditional lives realize, I can't take this shit. I have needs. I need to get fucked from sun up to sun goddamn down. I can't live like this. And they left their established relationships. They left their established norms. So what do people do when their dream falls apart? They say, you know what? It's sex. It's because this evil person used their sexiness and their wiles to break my good husband. Or someone could say, my innocent wife was seduced, manipulated into falling for this Casanova of a man. And she was weak and she was evil, because a good woman would stay. Let me tell you some real shit. All that logic is motherfucking warped. At the end of the day, we have needs, and our needs may align or may not motherfucking align. But when you have a partner or spouse and you expect them to water down, to lock away, to deprive themselves of what the fuck they need to feel alive, to feel happy, I have to question you. Do you love the person that you're with? Because if you love the person that you're with, you would do the best that you can to get them fulfilled. And if you know that you can't fulfill them, then you will love them enough to, 1, leave the relationship, or 2, help them find alternative ways so that they are fulfilled and satisfied. Now, what the fuck y'all think about that shit, huh? That's too progressive for you? How is that progressive? You love the person you're with. Why would you ask anyone that you love to sacrifice, to be deprived, to hide who they are, to water down, deny their needs, wants, yearnings, hopes? Why would you ever do that? You said you love the person, right? For better or for worse? Or is that just talk? We start relationships with these ideals of how things are going to be, how things should be. And then eventually life kicks in and you realize, man, this motherfucker is kinkier than I thought. Fuck this shit. I'm not doing it. We're married. We're locked. We're down. Fuck him. He can get over it. He can deal with it. I don't give a fuck. How long do you think that shit gonna last? It can't last. You can't ask a person who's starving for food not to look at every motherfucking plate of food or piece of food in front of their face. So when you're asking your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your fiance, whoever, to deny who they are, to deprive them of what they want and need to be the best person they can be, to be the person that you're attracted to, that's a fucking ticking time bomb, and that shit's gonna blow the fuck up on you. It's gonna blow back in your goddamn face. When you love a person, you work to make sure they're fulfilled. The happier you make them, the happier they will make you. Listen to what the fuck I said, because we have an attitude, a chip on our shoulders about bringing ultimate bliss, happiness to a person. We think that a person needs a reality check. They need to be brought down to earth. No, they don't need to be brought back down to earth. What you need to do, you need to inflate that motherfucker's person's ego. That's what they need to do. That's what you need to do. You need a man. You need to stroke his motherfucking ego and every goddamn thing else that goes with that shit. Because the happier you make that motherfucking man, he will give you the world, the goddamn universe, the solar system, and every motherfucking thing else. He won't look at another. I'm going to give you some reverse psychology. You want to cook a motherfucker and keep them thinking about you for the rest of your life? Let me tell you what to do. You make them so goddamn happy and pleased that they can't exist without you. You are air. You are food. You are water to them. You are goddamn sunlight to them. Because the happier you have that son of a bitch, do you know the things they will do for you? Do you know the passion and desire they will have for you? I'm not saying degrade yourself. I'm not saying demean yourself. I'm saying you make self-respecting, self-honoring decisions, but your ultimate goal is to have a smile plastered on that son of a bitch face. Whether you're with them or not, they have you running through their mind like a goddamn obsession. But to do that, you can't be conservative. You got to bring your motherfucking A game. You have to be open-minded. You have to be in tune. Sexual conservatism means there's a lot of motherfucking rules in place. You cannot have bomb-ass intimacy and out of this world motherfucking orgasms by following a motherfucking rule book or checklist. No one has time for that shit. No one wants to deal with that shit. And if they do, they don't want to deal with it for long. You got to be passionate. You have to be fluid. You got to bring it. You can't bring it when you're too busy judging other people about how they live their life. You can't do it. It takes away the pleasure. It takes away the gratification. It takes away the fulfillment and satisfaction. Now, some of you probably think I'm asinine. I'm off my ass. I'm crazy. I'm all that and more. But what I'm telling you is when you got to live your life checking a piece of paper or going through all these lists and rules about what can be, what can't be, fuck that shit. You want the best playbook for your life? Follow your instincts, follow your spirit, follow your soul. That is the best piece of advice I can give you. Life is fluid. Chemistry with different people is different. If you try to apply a cookie cutter approach to every person you meet and engage with, you won't have many relationships. And if you do, you're going to be miserable as fuck. We have to be fluid. We have to be pliable. That's how you enjoy all your senses. That's how you relish that shit. Morally wrong to have sex with another. What's morally wrong is being made to do things that are not right for you. What's morally wrong is being judged and cast aside because you happen to be different. What's morally wrong is now not allowing a person to have the liberty to pursue their happiness. That is morally wrong. Morals are about being happy and doing the right thing for each other as mankind and respecting the fact that everyone has different needs. That's what's morally right. Coming and feeling good, that is not wrong. Now, if you're saying, well, if you're doing it out of wedlock, that's not wrong. Whatever. You got two consenting adults, assuming. And if they want to do it, they want to motherfucking do it. If they happen to be in a relationship with someone else, technically, they should be honest with the other person before they do it. There's a better way to move through life. But if people are single and they want to motherfucking mingle, it's their prerogative to do as they please. It's their prerogative. No one's going to hell for being sexually aroused and wanting to come off of that shit. I don't know what to tell you. I'm telling you, no one's going to hell for that shit. I don't care what you've been told. I don't give a fuck what you thought, what you read, what you think, what you believe. It doesn't motherfucking matter. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Otherwise, passion and desire would not exist. And it exists for a reason. So, I don't know what to tell you guys. If you are sexually conservative, it gives you what you need to be the best person you can be, then you do that shit. But if you're not conservative, but you're doing it because you think it looks right, I don't know what to tell you. You're miserable, you're unsatisfied, and you're disconnected from reality. And for those of you who have the balls to be a boss and follow what makes you happy, that's honoring and respectful, I say you do that shit. Don't let someone define what tradition means for you. Don't let someone define how you should live your sexual life. Don't ever let someone have that much power over you. You take the reins, you own that shit, you do that shit. But as with everything, there's a cost. So whatever choice that you make, you got to be prepared to pay the cost and live your life and not give a fuck about what anybody else thinks. So this is all I have for this part. Please stay tuned for the next segment. So this next article I read, it was talking about how your flaws are more attractive than what you think. I have some news for all of you. What looks right on the surface is not what it seems. If there's someone around you that you've seen or witnessed, whether it's in person or on television, and if you think they have it all together, and their life looks perfect and they have no flaws, I can tell you, you are living in a motherfucking alternate reality. Part of being a human being is that we have our good side, we have our not so good side. We have our pretty side, we have our ugly side. That's what makes us who we are. Now, I hate the word flaws because that is demeaning, it's derogatory, it's marginalizing. It makes you feel that you're ineffective, you're useless, you're worthless. Why do we come up with these labels and titles to make us feel even greater discomfort and devalue who we are and our substance? Fuck a flaw. Fuck a flaw. Just because someone did not like an aspect of your personality and they told you that you were wrong, that doesn't mean anything at all. Do you know how many people are on the face of this motherfucking earth? So if you have 1 person, 2 person, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, 6 people, you can keep counting these motherfuckers and they all line up to tell you, you're fucked up, you're fucked up, you're fucked up, you're fucked up, you're fucked up. Guess what? You have more people on this earth remaining that will see the treasure of a being that you are, the good and the bad. Why do we let other people have power over who the fuck we are and how we think about ourselves just because we operate differently, just because we think differently, just because we feel differently, just because we express differently? What is a flaw for someone else can be a prize for another. And that is what I think we fail to remember. We fail to remember that shit. So what, you have people consecutively tell you in succession that, you know what, this is fucked up, this is fucked up, this is fucked up. Is it possible that maybe they are the wrong motherfuckers in your life and you need to replace them with people who are more conducive to who you are as a person? Listen to what the fuck I said. A number of us have encountered people who have told us we are fucked up in one regard or another. And because we heard it consistently, we took that shit to heart. Some of us took it to heart faster than others because of the people who were communicating that information to us. But overall, you swallowed that. You made that a part of your belief system, that you are flawed, that you are fucked up, that you are worthless, useless. But here's what I'm asking you. Maybe you have the wrong motherfucking people in your life. Have you heard the saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure? There's a reason why that saying exists. If you have people around you who cannot celebrate all of you, what makes you you, then what I'm going to tell you is free, but it's fucking priceless. You got the wrong motherfucking people around you. You want people who can help you be the best that you can be. If people are too busy pointing out your flaws instead of celebrating you and helping you radiate, grow, and shine, you got the wrong motherfuckers around you. You got the wrong motherfuckers around you. And did I say you got the wrong motherfuckers around you? None of us are perfect. None of us will ever be perfect. The only thing we can do with our dark side is to acknowledge it, to appreciate it, to respect it, to honor it, and to learn what the hell it teaches us, and to look at those qualities and find the gifts of what they are. Too many of us look at our not so good traits and we start coming up with some type of quantifiable measurement of where we rank on the human being scale as far as how valuable we are in society. I'm here to break those notions and premise. What you have that is you may be just wrong for the circumstances, situation, the people, and the environment that you're in. And you need to change where you are and who you're with so you can feel good about who you are. You need to feel good and accepting about who you are. Because when you can do that, when you can look yourself in the face, stare yourself in the goddamn eyes, and go deep to your core, not run from it, not hide it, take it in, absorb it, be with it. When you can do that, that changes your life and your landscape. People cease to have the power to impact or influence your self-esteem, your self-worth. Because you know and you understand that all these things that's a part of your personality, they don't define you. They help make up who you are, but it does not define you. You define you. So if you struggle with patience, you struggle with patience. It doesn't mean that you're a horrible person because you struggle with patience. You just struggle with patience. But you're still a queen or a king or a god or a goddess. Can you guys grasp what I'm saying? Your good and not so good qualities do not define who you are. It does not define your value. You are priceless just because you merely exist. All this other shit is nothing. Because depending on your audience, it will depend on whether people are celebrating you, admiring you, or disgusted with you. But if it was me, I would surround myself with people who adore me, who understand me, who can be with me. I would not walk around with a fucking hobo bag feeling bad about myself because some motherfucker have told me that this is not right with you. This is not right with you. You need to change this. You need to change this. No, what you need to do is mind your motherfucking business. That's what the fuck you need to do. The next time someone is belittling you, looking at you with disgust, with disdain, you have to understand that whatever you see, it has nothing to do with you. That person is the person with the issue. They're the ones with the real issue. And if you allow them to supplant their issues onto you, then you start to feel inadequate. You start to feel unworthy. Part of making you the most attractive person you can be is embracing all that you are. When you walk around pretending and showing that you are this perfect, well-mannered, got together person, you seem unreachable. You're not reachable because this person thinks, you know what, this person is so perfect. How can you ever connect? It's not possible to do that at all. You cannot connect with people who are perfect. But when you let people see you, the true you, the full you, it opens up a world, a level of attractiveness, of magnetism, of chemistry that you could never imagine. When you are an open person, an inviting person, a comfortable, solid person in all that you are, you have no idea how people will come out of the woodwork to get to know you, to be with you, to take you out on dates, to spend time with you, to be your friends, to fall in love with you. They will be drawn to you. Don't we all want that? To be desired, to be wanted, to be yearned for, to be longed for. People will pick up your energy and they will be in a trance because you are so open and you are embracing. Because if you can embrace all that you are, the good, the bad, the pretty, the ugly, that means they feel comfortable in your presence. And people like to be around people who make them feel good. No one wants to be around a fucked up, closed-minded, closed-off, disgruntled motherfucker. Nobody wants to be around that shit. But when you can celebrate yourself and celebrate life and celebrate all the things that makes you you, if you don't think you dance so well, but you don't give a fuck and you still move, people like that. They like that humanness. You know why? Because it's a novelty. It's rare. People are so closed off trying to pretend to be this perfect person that they take away their edge. They take away their chemistry. They take away their sensuality. And when you deaden all that, nobody wants to get to know your ass. But when you embrace all that you are, motherfuckers will be lining up for you for days. And I know it's counterintuitive because we're taught to put our best foot forward. But what you don't understand is putting your best foot forward does not mean putting your perfect foot forward. People like to see us. Some of the shit they see, it may scare them. It may intrigue them. It may arouse them. It may inform them. They never know what they're going to get from you. You are like this spectacular enigma, mystery. People generally think that showing vulnerability makes us seem weak. What's wrong with being weak sometimes? Huh? You think it's possible to be strong all the time? No one's strong all the time. That's the wonderful part that makes us human. But you don't want to seem weak. Being weak can also be very powerful. You're saying, no, the fuck it can't. Why can't it? Being subdued, being meek, being surrendered. You think that makes you a doormat? That makes you a punk bitch? What does it make you? Feeling soft doesn't take away that oomph, that fire, that character within you. Feeling weak is just a moment. But showing your vulnerabilities exposes you. It exposes you to the possibility of pain, of betrayal, to judgment. And we don't like to be judged or betrayed. But here's the thing. You can't control anyone else but yourself. So if you choose to be open and vulnerable, you also have to surrender or let go to the fact that people are going to do what the fuck they're going to do. And it has nothing to do with you. So if you share some personal information with another and they go tell others, yes, initially it impacts you. But over the long run, the long haul, it actually impacts that person running their mouth. Because people are going to realize you can't trust this person. They have this certain character. And to be honest with you, you shouldn't give a fuck. One, you shouldn't speak about anything that you don't care about someone else telling, first and foremost. If you telling someone something will make you feel terribly upset, then you should not share that information. Because you cannot control anyone's thoughts, words, or actions. But let's get back to how to be the most attractive person we can be. Being weak means that it allows someone, or feeling weak allows someone to be there for you. It makes you more open to building a bond and connecting with someone, allowing you to have intimacy, warmth, healing. People want to feel like they can reach you. They want to sense your being and your soul. But if you're walking around hiding those parts of who you are, what you are, you're always going to feel cold, guarded, standoffish. No one wants to be with a person like that. People seek other people to feel a sense of not being alone. They don't want to be lonely. So if you have all these walls and these guards up, you're giving off the vibe that you really don't want to connect. You really don't want to be with a person. And they will move the fuck on to someone who is ready, willing, and able to open up, to enjoy, to stimulate, titillate one another. People, whether they admit it or not, when you're on dates, and if you do it the right way, at the right timing, they love seeing raw truth and openness in other people. But we are afraid to let them see it in us. So I just told you, people love seeing your raw truth and openness. It takes a whole bunch of courage to display your raw truth. Because you don't know what you may get. You may get judged. You may get exposed. Any number of things can happen. It's a risk. It's a gamble. But the reward outweighs the risk and the gamble. but we're too afraid, too cowardly to trust ourselves and tell our truth. We'll rather concoct these elaborate, perfect stories of what our life is like and what things seem, instead of using good judgment on how we unveil ourselves. To love yourself, you have to embrace all of you. If you can't embrace all of you, then that means you cannot love you. If you cannot love you, how in the hell do you expect someone else to be able to love you? It goes hand in hand. You cannot let your fear dictate your life. You cannot let your fear keep you from living life. You cannot let your fear deprive you of the life that you are worthy of having. All because you're afraid of looking weak. All because you're afraid of telling someone, this is who I really am. Take it or leave it. Because you're scared that someone's going to say, hey, I raised my hand for leave it. If you share your raw truth and someone decides to leave it, that means that motherfucker wasn't worthy of you. And you should be counting your lucky stars and blessing that they were honest enough to move the fuck on before it's too late. That's another way of thinking about it, don't you think? There's a notion that people actually admire vulnerability in others. Now, I'm not saying you act like a damsel in distress or the boy who cried wolf. You have to use good judgment on how you choose to proceed with this. But at the end of the day, we all want to be desired. We want to be pursued. We want to chase. We want to intrigue. We want to attract. We want to use and have the highest charisma possible. Well, to do that, you have to be open, accepting, nurturing. You have to be confident and dynamic. I'm not saying you go out and go boo-hoo and tell your whole life story. No, there's an art to unveiling or displaying your vulnerabilities. There's an art to it. There's a way of presenting your so-called quote unquote flaws that will seem very seductive, very tempting. Any information that you convey, you should convey it in the best way possible to accomplish a goal. So I'm not telling you meet someone, you just open up your fucking life book and just say, here it is, take it, eat my shit, shove it down your throat. No, there's an art to doing it. There's a timing, there's a tone. Everything is a skill to make that happen. It's a skill. And you have to take the time to learn the art on how to unveil, not to unveil too much, not to unveil too little, how to bring the person coming back to you, how to hook them, how to intrigue them. Anything you share with another, you have to do it in a way that benefits you. If you're just taking your whole batch of bullshit of your luggage, of your baggage of your life and dropping it on someone's doorstep or their lap, it's not going to work. You take one article of your baggage out of this luggage and share that in an intriguing way. Another time you open up another luggage and share that part. You want to tease, you want to taunt, you want to draw them in, you want to captivate them, you want to enamor them. You don't want to dump a fucking closet on a person and say, hey, take me. They're going to run. But if you use it like fish bait, you use it to intrigue and draw them in, you will find you have the greatest passion and desire. You will find that people are pursuing you. People will be obsessed and stalking you because you will radiate so much warmth, happiness, acceptance. Your whole aura will change, all by embracing your good side and your not so good side. So I know we've been taught to appear strong, like we have it together. But if you want to get ahead in life, you want to establish better relationships, you have to learn better discretion, and you have to learn what to reveal, what not to reveal, when to reveal it. Simple as that. You master that skill. Watch your life unfold. Watch your life transform. Watch you become happier, less stressed, You will radiate joy and smile. You will become the best version of you, and you will be able to live your best motherfucking life in this lifetime. So thank you for listening, and please come back next week. Are you disappointed this has come to an end? Well, it doesn't have to. Reach out and let me know what you think about this episode and my podcast. You can try and slide into my DM, but I will kick your ass out. So I suggest you hop into my DM on Instagram at Difficult and Demanding, or Twitter at Mrs. D&D, or leave a comment on one of my posts. Our time together has come to an end, but don't worry, I'll be back. I'll come back to you really, really soon. Episode 62 is here on January 25th, 2019 from the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast.